Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So in today's video we're going to be doing a review of the Hodlnaut platform. So we'll be going through various different bits. We'll be talking about what is Hodlnaut, we'll be talking through the sign up process, doing a walkthrough of the interface, and then talking through some of the pros and cons of Hodlnaut compared to some of its competitors such as BlockFi, Celsius, Crypto.com, Nexo, Ledon, Swissborg, etc, etc. So firstly, Hodlnaut is basically a crypto interest platform. If you don't know what that is, it allows you to deposit cryptocurrency into their platform and earn interest on it. And if we jump over to the rates, one of the reasons why Hodlnaut's getting I think quite a lot of interest at the moment, and it's one of the smaller platforms within this kind of space, which means that maybe there isn't as much information out there available as there are for some of these larger competitors like Crypto.com or Celsius or BlockFi, etc. But one of the reasons a lot of people are pretty drawn to it at the moment are their interest rates. So a lot of the competitors have been introducing tiers to the interest rate, particularly on kind of Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also on stable coins as well. And in many instances, those tiers are pretty stringent. Now, I think one of the great things about Hodlnaut at the moment, and I'm recording this on the 20th of November 2021, so these rates and the tiers and everything like that may well change over time, particularly if you're watching this a few months in the distance. But one of the things that's really happened to the other platforms is that they've introduced tiny kind of tiers. So BlockFi, their maximum amount is only available on the first 0.1%, 0.1 Bitcoin rather, on their platform. Celsius have just introduced a 0.25 top tier. Even Ledon, that used to have a top tier of the first 2 Bitcoin, is now a top tier of just the first Bitcoin. So Hodlnaut not only has some of the highest interest rates on Bitcoin in the industry, but also one of the most generous first tiers. So their first tier is the first 2 Bitcoin. You can earn up to 7.46% APY. They also quote the APR rate, which is quite nice. A lot of people just quote one kind of rate, but basically APR is annual percentage rate, and the APY annual percentage yield. And basically the yield is just the annual percentage rate once it compounds. So Hodlnaut pay out every week. So if you deposited Bitcoin at the beginning of the year and then you let your interest accumulate basically and accumulate and compound over the year, the actual rate that you would receive is 7.46. So 7.46 on the first 2 Bitcoin, 4.08 on the next 8 Bitcoin. The second tier is very generous as well, and then 2.02 on the next 90 Bitcoin. So that takes you up to 100 Bitcoin, and then 1% on any deposits above 100 Bitcoin. Their wrapped Bitcoin rates are exactly the same as the Bitcoin rates. So first 2, next 8, 90, and then over 100. And their Ethereum rates, only the 3 tiers for this. So first 20 Ethereum, 7.46 again, next 80, 4.08%, and then any deposits above 100 Ethereum earn 2.02. And when you go into the higher rates, you don't earn that a lower amount on everything. You still earn 7.46, for example, on the first 20, then 4.08 on the next 80, and then just deposits over and above that would be earning the lower rate. And then for stable coins, USDC and Tether or USDT are exactly the same. So 12.73%, again, market leading rate for USDC on the first 25,000, 7.25 on the next 75, so that takes you up to 100,000, just over 3.5 on the next 400,000, and then 2.84 above 500,000. But that's on each of the different stable coins, so that's USDC and USDT, and then DAI is a little bit lower. What you will find is that rates on DAI across the industry are lower than they are on USDC and USDT, but you can still earn 8.32% on the first 25,000 rather, 5.12 on the next 75,000, 3.56 on the next 400,000, and then 2.02 over and above 500,000 DAI on the platform. So this is one of the reasons why it's such a popular platform at the moment. A lot of people are looking for information. Now the company is based out of Singapore. They've been around for a few years now. So they launched in 2019, so a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago now. And they've sort of developed through them. Now, it's a company I first came across probably about a year ago, but at the time, you know, the rates were pretty decent across their larger competitors across BlockFi and LED and Celsius and various others. So it wasn't a platform I really took much of an interest in at the time, but I've been really kind of sort of drawn to it by the decent kind of rates and the fact that, you know, there is a bit more analysis of the kind of company. Now there isn't as much analysis as for some of their competitors, so it's a little bit more difficult difficult to find out information about them, but they've got a pretty decent reputation. I haven't heard anything particularly bad about them in the industry. A lot of people won't like the fact that they're kind of based out of Singapore, not based out of, say, the US or Canada or somewhere in mainland Europe. But, it is what it is. This is not financial advice. You have to do your own due diligence. Whenever you deposit cryptocurrency into any platform, and no matter how decent and how reputable you think it is, there is always a risk. Look what happened to Cred, the Cred Earn platform, which went bust earlier this year. And there have been other ones as well. Within my kind of channel, I try and steer clear of anything that I think is even likely suspect. There is nothing that makes me more worried about Hodlnaut than any of its slightly larger competitors at the moment. I still would say probably the least risky out of all these kind of platforms are probably BlockFi and Ledn. But Hodlnaut, I wouldn't put it any riskier than something like kind of Nexo or Celsius or Crypto.com or anything like that. So they are smaller, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And one of the real positives that I've come out of my research is how reactive their support team are to inquiries and things like that. So I think that's a real positive thing. And you tend to find this with the smaller platforms. I've certainly found that with Ledn. You certainly get a far better support response than you do from some of the larger platforms like Crypto.com and Celsius and BlockFi. And because of their size, they don't necessarily have as large a support team as they necessarily need, and support inquiries can sometimes take an awful long time. They've got a very active Telegram group as well, Hodlnaut, with members of the team active on that if you do want to reach out for questions or have more kind of like more information before you actually signed up to a platform like this. But what I think would be useful now is if we just jump in and have a look at the overview of the app. Now I was going to log into mine, but they actually have this demo which is quite nice. It's exactly the same as you see when you log in, but obviously saves showing you all my private information. Now in this account they've got various cryptocurrencies that have been deposited. So when you first log in, you get this overview page. It gives you an account overview priced in BTC. Something which is quite nice is this ticker. So this is the amount of interest you're earning this week. You've got the next payout date listed then. They pay out on a Monday morning. It's about 10 or 11 a.m. UTC. So that you receive that every Monday morning. As you can see here, I'm recording this on Saturday evening, and it's 1 day, 13 hours, 8 minutes and 10 seconds till the next payout. But something which is quite nice, you can look here and see how much interest you're going to be earning this week, and this ticks up in real time as you're kind of earning it. Now this actually goes to 10 decimal places. I really wish they'd take this back to 8 decimal places, which would be a Satoshi, so you could see your Satoshis kind of ticking up. I presume they do it to 10 just because it's a bit more visually appealing. If you've got smaller amounts in there, it ticks up kind of quicker, and if you had a tiny amount in there, you could be sat here for a few minutes and not see it tick up at all, and maybe think it's not working. So I presume that's why they do that. But it's a pretty simple interface. They have a light and a dark mode. I far prefer the dark mode for all these different platforms. You can deposit and withdraw. So just the first menu item, deposit and withdraw. Select your cryptocurrency here. It will generate an address. So on mine it generates your address there. This is a demo account, so that's why they're not generating one. And then withdraw, exactly the same. You select your one, you can put in your address below and withdraw that cryptocurrency. They are currently doing one free withdraw a month, and then you pay kind of network fees over and above that one free withdraw every month. The next menu option is statements, so you can jump back and forth between the different weeks. You can see your daily interest that you're earning across all the different kind of cryptocurrencies. So if we jump between them, you can see the amounts change, and then if you go to the total, you can see a total amount in Bitcoin that is being earned each day. So you got your balance and then the interest earned. The next section is an affiliate section. So they are currently offering $20 free. Now I'll put my referral link in the description below. No, there's no kind of requirement to use that or anything like that. You can use any affiliate link that you would like to. If you've got friends that use the platform, use theirs by all means. But if you sign up through an affiliate link and you deposit $1,000 worth of cryptocurrency in a single transaction, doesn't matter whether it's in Bitcoin or stablecoins or Ethereum, anything like that, as long as it's $1,000 or more in a single transaction within the first week of signing up, you'll get a $20 sign up bonus. In addition, the person who referred you gets a $20 referral bonus as well. So if you sign up with my link, you'll get $20. I'll get $20 for full transparency. And then finally, an option I really like here is the token swap. So you can put in the amount you want to kind of swap, the coin you want to swap to, so let's say USDC, and it will give you so let's put in a smaller amount, and it will give you a rate. Now I checked this on my own account earlier, and the rate quoted was within about $150 of the live rate on CoinMarketCap, the average rate. So there isn't a huge spread. I think with a lot of these sort of token swaps, particularly BlockFi in the past, I've noticed, but also Ledn to a certain extent as well, that the actual rates you're being quoted are substantially different. So they often say, oh, it's free swaps, or it's free kind of swaps. Now, whenever they say it's kind of free swaps, they're making their money on the spread basically, but the spread does not seem particularly kind of bad here. It seems reasonable. Now, I haven't actually gone through with any of these kind of swaps myself yet, so if and when I do, I'll update with a note below, maybe a pinned comment to say what the kind of like the rate, the referral rate, not the referral rate, the spread looked like. But from first looking at my account, it looked to be pretty excuse me, pretty representative of the actual kind of market rate. And then the final thing you should know about is user settings. So if we go into user settings, the two security options, enable 2FA, so this is two-factor authentication. Always put this on whenever you're using any kind of crypto app. Always use two-factor authentication. You can use Google Authenticator or something like that, and you can also have a withdrawal whitelist where you can put in whitelisted accounts. And then what's really nice is the interest payout preference, so you can have flexibility for each individual cryptocurrency for what you want to be paid out in. So for example, you could set everything to be paid out in USDC, and then you might say, okay, but I want my Tether to still be paid out in kind of Tether, and I want my DAI to be paid out in DAI. But you can swap these around, and you can do this on an individual coin basis, so that's really nice. Finally, if you are interested in custody cover, so they've signed up here with Nexus Mutual. Now, Nexus Mutual is not part of Hodlnaut. They offer cover for lots of these different kind of platforms, but if you click here more, you can put how much cover you want. So you want 10 Ethereum's worth of cover, how many days you want it for, and then you can get a quote. And this basically covers you for various eventualities. You have to kind of go through and find out the exact kind of requirements and what they will cover you for, but generally it's the exchange being hacked, them being going under, not being able to kind of pay out, and you can cover some of your exposure through that. But of course, this is not financial advice, and whenever you deposit any cryptocurrency onto one of these platforms, there is always a third party risk. So in addition to the web app, and I use the web app mainly, but they do have an Android and a Google iPhone app. I've used the Android app. It's pretty full function. You can use all the sort of biometric login that you can on your phone normally, and it's just a duplicate basically of the kind of web app. It's quite nicely put together. It's quite simple, but seems to work very well indeed. So that's nice that they have that for those users who prefer to do these things on their phone. And then what I want to do really now is just talk through some of the kind of pros and cons of Hodlnaut. Now, the general pros that I have for the kind of platform are that there are market leading rates basically. Doesn't matter which way you kind of look at it, the rates are very competitive, particularly at the moment, particularly after a lot of the drawdown for the competitors like kind of BlockFi and Celsius. So the rates are really competitive. The tiers are also very good. So this is now double. The first tier being 2 BTC is double what you get with kind of Ledn. Nexo doesn't have tiers still, but the rates are a bit lower. If you've got huge amounts of crypto, you will probably be moving stuff around between different platforms anyway. But the first rates for all of their different kind of different cryptocurrencies, so a Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, are really generous. Now, if you've got a lot to deposit, you might choose to put 25,000 in USDC, 25,000 in USDT, for example, and then up your total amount to 50,000. A lot of people are doing that on other platforms, but certainly for Bitcoin, I think this is one of the best platforms currently out there. The other thing I like about it is that there's no token. A lot of their competitors have tokens. One of the things I really liked about BlockFi initially, but one of the things I really like about Ledn at the moment, and I have, for full transparency, I have more Bitcoin on Ledn than any other platform. My second largest holding on one of these platforms is now Hodlnaut for Bitcoin. So I have probably 2 or 3 times as much on Ledn as I do on Hodlnaut, because it's a newer platform for me and I'm still kind of like going through the kind of process. But I hold more now on Hodlnaut than I do on Celsius, on Nexo, on BlockFi, etc. I will probably be up in a little bit from Celsius over to Nexo recently because of the withdrawing kind of rates from Celsius, but just that's only my personal kind of opinion. But I'm happy to hold, a reasonable amount of kind of cryptocurrency on Hodlnaut. Again, not financial advice, you have to do your own due diligence, but it's not a platform I'm hugely worried about. So I really like the fact there's no token, and the reason behind that is that a lot of their competitors, so Celsius, Crypto.com, Nexo, Yield App, etc. In order to get the better rates, you have to either hold a large number of their own token, or you have to be paid in that token, or etc, 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 or you get bonuses in their token. Now I think the issue with that is that then the company has basically 2 jobs. It has their first job is to generate a yield for you, but then at the same time they also have to kind of like maintain their kind of token price. And I think we've seen this potentially in the last sort of 4 or 5 months with a platform like Celsius, where the token has performed pretty poorly. Last year it performed really, really well. This year it's performed poorly. It's down probably 50% from its all-time highs. It hasn't kind of like risen up with everything else in the last few weeks. And then I think people that are choosing to be paid out in it or choosing to hold large amounts start to get a bit annoyed, and then the companies are more worried about kind of like maintaining their token price than they are about generating interest and yield for you. The other thing I think is that if you just basically create a token out of thin air, which is what these companies are doing, and then sell it on the kind of market, it's a great way of funding your kind of company, but it also means that it can cover up a multitude of kind of like misdeeds and sort of like dodgy kind of dealings. They can afford to be paying out more than they can afford because they're just covering it with their own token sales and various things like this. And I think in a kind of bull market, maybe you don't see the negative impacts of that, but I think come the next kind of bear market, when a lot of these kind of token prices are going to drop substantially, and then maybe they're not getting the same amount kind of income through token sales and stuff like that, then you start to see maybe the negative impacts of having a token sort of tokenomic kind of interface within these kind of platforms. So I always prefer platforms that don't have to have tokens. That's not to say I don't use platforms that have their own kind of tokens. I tend not to be paid out in them. I tend not to hold large numbers of them, but I do like platforms that can generate kind of yield without having to generate their own token to do it. And the last thing, which I think is a real big pro, is how reactive their support are. So one of the sort of recurring themes doing research for actually utilising this platform myself, but also for this video, is people being really kind of like happy with the kind of like with the support that they're being provided for by Hodlnaut. They have a really active Telegram channel which you can sign up for, and overall I think you see this often with smaller kind of companies. The larger the companies get, often they grow quicker than they can grow their kind of support teams and stuff like that, and therefore the support is lacking. But I think within smaller companies, and I've certainly felt this with Ledn, they're very reactive when you reach out to them with any kind of questions. Same with kind of Hodlnaut. I think the support is probably pretty good and towards the top end of what you will get in this industry. I'm not to say that if a large company can't offer good support, but often if they're growing very rapidly, they just can't build their support teams up quickly enough to cover all the inquiries they're kind of getting. And then going on to kind of cons, I suppose the first con is that there is a limited number of coins available, only 6 coins, including wrapped Bitcoin and Bitcoin being 2 different kind of coins. So you've only basically got Bitcoin, either wrapped or unwrapped, Ethereum, and then stable coins. Now, for some people, if you've got other crypto that you want to earn a yield, it's just a no-go. They don't offer that, so you'd have to look elsewhere. Something else that may be a negative for people is that they don't offer crypto-backed loans or anything like that. So if you want a crypto-backed loan, you can't do it within the same platform. You'd have to utilize a different platform for that. They are purely an interest generating endeavor. And then the last one is that, you know, they're a bit smaller and a bit less known within the kind of industry than some of their competitors, so probably have been open to less scrutiny, which I think, you know, is always, you know, a worry. So it's not to say there's anything kind of wrong with them, but because they are a bit smaller, they haven't been around maybe for as long as some of their competitors, they have not been, you know, subjected to as many kind of like as much scrutiny as maybe some of their kind of competitors. So that would be my other kind of con to the platform. I'm very happy with them personally. As I said, I've been with them for about a month. I've been receiving my interest, and I've actually doubled the amount of Bitcoin I hold on them in the last couple of weeks. So I hope that's been useful. A lot of people have been asking me what I think about Hodlnaut and various other platforms, and I'll be trying to cover some of the other platforms that you've been asking me about in my weekly videos over the next few weeks as well. As I mentioned below, there is a sign up link to Hodlnaut in the description below. Feel free to use it if you want to sign up to them. That would be kind of great. Really helps give me a kind of boost and make me want to make more videos. But if you have any other questions, do let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know your opinion of the kind of platform. Let me know if you've been using Hodlnaut, the pros and cons, any issues you've been having, or any really good service that you've been getting. Do let me know in the comments below. Always nice to hear from my viewers. But thanks very much for watching. As always, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Look after yourselves. Hopefully I'll see you on the next video. But until then, have a great day. Bye bye.